Yang, shut up. I wasn't asking you. Sorry, John. He's Yang's just being Yang.
Yeah. He's hanging out with his Yang out. That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's an excellent phrase.
Just hanging out with me, hanging out.
Have I not? I swear I've used that before. This isn't the
No,
first time
I've heard it before.
Yeah.
I obviously forgot that you said it because that's incredible.
Maybe it's just the thing I've said to Dave. I don't know.
Probably.
Thinking of all the people in this chat right now, Michael, you would be the most likely to call your pets children.
What? Really?
Yeah. Just based on a purely looking you up and down, and if I didn't even know you, and if I were to meet you in the wild, I would look at you and I would go, I bet that motherfucker calls his dog his child. Like that's one of my kids.
To be fair, though, I call my turtles my children.
I fucking knew it! I have insane... you know what? Okay, I've re-ranked my David pissed off tier list. People that put Parmas on top of chips is still number one, but at a fucking close second, and Ricki can attest me to this, at a close second is people that call their goddamn pets their children. I'm not having it.
How do you feel about the phrase Furbabies?
That makes me shudder.
I shudder at it, but I'm not going to kick up a fuss about it.
Yeah,
but
right.
it's as soon as you develop beyond the fur baby moniker and you go, no, that's my son. Oh, all hell breaks loose inside me. I'm like, that is.
Can I get away with saying potentially that my turtles are reptile baby?
Yeah, because they can be reptile children of other reptiles, but they're not your children.
I mean,
If you said they're my reptile babies, then I'd be more concerned.
All I'm saying is, and like, I can't even it's no stiff against the animals. I love them as pets. I get it. I'm just not looking at it, and I'm like, and looking at them and going, God, I have such undying affection for you that I consider you a product of me. Is how far I'm going with it. Like, I love Maui. I'm looking at Maui right now. Maui's nice. And he gets by. But is he my child? No, he's my cat.
although that's not to say that you have no like impact on Maui's life at all. Because I read an article somewhere that like pets do take on personality traits of their owners, which explains Maui to a T when you think about it.
Yeah, which explains why Maui's a cunt because he spends a lot of time around Jason. But
Oh, okay.
And he just popped in the next room. No, but Maui is not my kid. I've been seeing it a lot over the last couple of months because obviously we've been spending a lot of time with our pets, so much so that I'm seeing a lot of people come out and go, "Oh my God, love my daughter, love my son. Oh, he's like a son to me." And I can't explain why it works me so much. It just works me. No, you're not the only one. Like, it's a very common complaint. I just feel like it's not one that's like openly talked about a lot. It's like, but I've heard it from a lot of people, including like my own parents. Like, I mean, my mum, big pet lover. Like, she's got dogs and chickens and she even looks after some sheep sometimes and stuff. That's just country living. But yeah, like even then, like she's like, I love all these animals. They're great, but they're not my children. Like, in no way, shape, or form. I have children. Love my animals. Love them to death. I've had chickens growing up as well. I'm Asian, right? So we've always had chickens. But it's just something about it. It's just something about when I hear it in the wild and it's just referring to them as your children. Works.
But it's usually people who don't have kids that refer to their pets as their children. Because they will spend just as much money to look after that pet as they would a child.
Yeah, look, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. Because I know JJ, you have a dog. I know obviously your parents have had children. They don't refer to Dizzy as their child, do they?
No, they can say that she's the piece of shit in my house that doesn't shut up.
Oh, brilliant!
Like me, but also it's my dog.
Can I be frank here? Yang, you said JJ, your parents had kids. Well, I'd be very concerned if JJ's parents were like JJ's parents at all.
Just clarifying for the audience.
Related to JJ in any way, shape, or
clarifying, yes, I do in fact have parents.
Yeah, I was just clarifying for the audience. It's not divine. What is it if you're born without parents? There's a word for it.
No. You're thinking of being born by one parent, and that's an immaculate conception.
Oh, immaculate conception.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's how.
Yeah, which was really just like a medieval way of explaining away teenage pregnancy.
I'll do like a Star Wars and say it was the midichlorians that did it.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you dare! Don't you say that! No.
Are we going to start on Star Wars discussion, Ricki?
By the way, yeah.
By the way,
arguments with fucking. Okay, so this is kind of relevant because what was it? Revenge of the Sith debuted like 15 years ago.
Oh, by the way, Ricki, that's the best Star Wars film.
No, it's not.
No, it's
No,
not.
no.
Thank you,
Fuck off,
JJ.
David.
He's not the
No,
best.
okay, you know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this then. We're gonna do this then. Okay, we're gonna do this then.
Yank,
We can
delete
do this.
yourself. Yank,
We
delete
can
yourself.
fucking do this.
Go on. Say your piece, bro.
It is the best of the prequels, and that's about it. It stops there. Fucking, there is no way in hell that clusterfuck of a CGI mess with one good scene has anywhere come close to New Hope or Empire Strikes Back. Not even in the same fucking ballpark.
Ewan McGregor was terrible
Yeah,
in it too.
I never stiffed
How
Empire
dare
Strikes
you,
Back.
Michael? How dare you? He carried those movies on his back. He was the best part. How dare you insult me like that?
I prefer Liam Neeson anyway.
Liam Neeson was the worst part.
Oh, what?
Come
Oh,
on.
stiff to
That's
Liam
a
Neeson.
stiff.
There's a lot of worse parts in the prequels. Liam Neeson is not on that list.
I want to
Fine.
see I want to see a separate Qui-Gon movie because like the more I learn about Qui-Gon Jinn, the more I'm like, fuck, he's my favorite of all the Jedis.
But see, once again, it's that case of like him and Darth Maul. It's like they became more interesting after the prequels finished when they did like all the side,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Clone Wars and all the animated, which apparently is really good. I need to watch it at some point.
It is really
dude,
good.
it is. I haven't
You
seen the latest
shouldn't-
season.
You shouldn't need to, and this is the problem with the sequels as well. Currently, the ones that just happened, is all of the cool information about all of these things that are just touched on in the movies are then explained in comic books and movies and visual like encyclopedias.
You're like,
and
I
shit.
shouldn't have to read a novel to work out something cool about a character in the movie I just watched.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's-
You shouldn't have to, but the fact is they keep making us try to do it. It's stupid. Whereas like the original trilogy was like, here's all the information. Here's what you need to know. In a coherent story. The start, middle, end, arcs, story progression. Done. Simple.
yeah. That's the problem. Like, that's what shit me up the wall about the Matrix trilogy. The first Matrix movie, fucking brilliant, because it does all of that. It gives you all the characters. It tells you everything you need to know about them. And then for the second and third movies, they tried to do, like, a tie-in thing like what Star Wars is doing with the Enter the Matrix video game. So, like, if you wanted to know about Ghost and Niobe, you had to play this whole video game. It wasn't a movie. It was a whole separate piece of media you had to get into and then finish to fully understand, like, their backstories and who they are. And even fucking bits of the plot in the movie don't make sense unless you've played the video game. Like, it was fucked. And I hated that about the Matrix trilogy.
Let me just say one thing on Empire Strikes Back, and then we'll move on.
Oh,
Okay?
God.
Let me
God.
just say one.
No.
Let me just
Go
say.
on.
Go on.
Go on, say your thing.
Let me just say one thing on Empire Strikes Back, and then we'll move on. Now, I give full credit to the swerve at the end. It was great. Contextually at the time, brilliant. However, the only reason I don't have it as the best Star Wars film is simply because I can't find any entertainment value in watching Luke have to go chase after Yoda because he's gone to cry and have a fucking sook on Dagobah, all right, because he couldn't fucking work out that Anakin was Darth Vader this entire time, okay? And the fact that took up about an hour of the film sucks. That first half sucked. That is all I want to say.
I was going
The
to say,
fact that
thank you, Ricki.
Yoda had a fucking sook is not good. Not good movie for me.
Wait,
not a
what do you-
good
what do you-
cinematic experience.
Hang on.
I'm confused. What do you mean Yoda had a sook?
having a sook?
Yoda had a sook. The end of Revenge of the Sith dipped away from the galaxy to go and hide because he was pissed off at himself because he couldn't
my
fucking feel that it
Did
was
you even watch that
Palpatine.
movie, David? That's not what.
That is
No,
not-
he
this is
went to have a
exactly-
fucking cry in
This is
Dagobah.
exactly what we were just fucking saying, is that if you watch Star Wars in its entirety, like just the original trilogy, and you don't have any of the supplementary material, which I will class the prequels as barely supplementary material, you don't know that. All you know is he had to go into hiding. And then George Lucas went back and basically, yes, bitched out Yoda by having him run away and having...
That means it happened then. That means it happened.
I
It's
know,
canon.
I know, but I barely refuse to accept it. And that's my choice.
I
that is
agree with you,
my
Ricki.
choice.
I'm fully in your corner here.
Yeah, exactly. So if all you need to know is like the thing with Yoda in the original trilogy is that he had to go in hiding, which at that point is trying to sell you to the fact that the Emperor is obviously super, super strong. We don't meet the Emperor until episode 6. Fuck. God damn it, Lucas. So it puts in your mind that if Yoda is this powerful on the light side of the Force and has to hide, then the Emperor must be like equally or more powerful on the dark side, but we don't get to see him at his full strength until episode 6. they fuck it all up by having the prequels with the goddamn Emperor in every fucking episode of it. And yeah, it diminishes that sort of feeling. But
that's
the original trilogy came out first. That's my
piece, Ricki. That's my piece, bro. Okay,
that's my opinion of an old man.
No.
There's a generational gap here between you and I, Ricki. Okay, I understand.
Oh,
right?
fucking barely.
Okay. No,
he's a bloody millennial. That's all you're saying.
Get your boomer opinion out of my face.
I just want to say, Duel of Fates is fucking sick.
That is a sick track.
Yeah.
That slaps.
Literally the best part of the whole prequel thing.
That and Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer was fucking best thing that ever come out of the prequels.
No.
Now this is pod racing is the best quote ever. Because that fits with everything.
Yeah, this is
pod racing.
I don't like sand.
I will do. Oh, fuck off! I will do this every now and then. As I will watch like Star Wars, but I was actually watching. Someone did a Twitch stream of them trying to recite Episode 1 word for word.
Oh, it was incredible! I watched that too.
Yeah, right.
It was so good.
The fucking the line that gets me every time in that fucking movie is "That's a wizard, Annie." That little fucking kid just saying "That's so wizard." It honestly, it brings up more questions than it answers because it's like, are wizards a thing in this universe? Are wizards like real? Are they magic? Are they different from Jedi? What the fuck are wizards in the Star Wars universe?
Well, there's witches in the Star Wars universe, so
is there?
Yeah, that's fucking. They brought it. They brought them in Episode 1. That's Darth Maul's people.
Oh god.
On fucking.
Technically, Darth Maul is then a wizard.
They
fucking
fleshed
Star
it
Wars
out.
know it all.
They fleshed it out in the Clone Wars animated series, which you need to watch because that's where it gets fleshed out.
I know. I need to watch it.
It also it makes up a huge part of the plot in Jedi Fallen Order. You spend a lot of time. And you deal with their people and stuff, and they're force sensitive people, but they're not Jedis. Like they don't join the Jedi Order and stuff like that. They're a whole planet of force sensitive people, kind of like the Sith, but they're not like as Sithy. They kind of just they do like black magic, they call it, but it's just manipulating the Force in different ways.
So that kid saying that Annie doing something cool was wizard would mean
they might be referring to but those people they're a matriarchy. Okay. Like, first of all, they're extremely xenophobic and they never leave their own planet. The reason why Darth Maul was a thing was because the Emperor came down, Palpatine came down and was like, you're pretty fucking dope. I'll take you as a baby, and like basically kidnapped him and raised him as a Sith. And like, so they don't leave their own planet. So they become basically like a mythological creature in the galaxy because they don't leave their own planet. And anybody who goes to the planet never leaves. Because, they go down there and these witches just go, nope, fuck you, dude, and just like fucking erase you from existence.
Alternatively, I think we might be looking into it too much. He could just be saying, "Damn, that's the shit." That's wizard.
What you're actually saying is that may have been a racial slur.
It might have been a racial slur.
That's all I need to know. Therefore, Episode 1 sucks.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
It sucks anyway.
Fucking stiffs.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
It sucked, and it also mentally fucked up the person who played Anakin as well, because let's say the last 20 years haven't been too kind to Jake Lloyd.
No, they haven't.
No, they have not.
That wasn't the Star Wars movies that fucked him up. That was Star Wars fans that fucked him up.
Because Star Wars fans are mean. They're the worst people on the internet.
Oh no! Don't get started on toxic communities because
no.
The wrestling community.
No, K-pop.
No, and toxic. The wrestling community is the most intoxic.
We're not going down this road. We're shutting the door on this.
All right.
Wait, are you trying to use a Pint Pass?
I'm not going to use that phrase because I might need it for later.
Oh, he's trying to save it. Okay.
Well, I'm just recommending we should shut the door on this.
Okay, I will use a Pint Pass.
All right, there we go. Pint Pass. With that, welcome to Pint Party, a podcast starting to turn a beer and a chat into a tax write-off. I'm your host, John McLeish. Thank you, JJ, for doing that, because I've been trying to fucking intro this fucking thing for the last 5 minutes, but then we got distracted because you were like, let's talk about the Witches of Dathomir. And I was like, oh, I do find them interesting. That was one bit of the expanded universe and prequel stuff that I actually kind of thought was kind of cool. That and Grey Jedi are pretty fucking sick. Anyway, joining me this week is literally fucking everybody. I got the entire... I've got the whole gimmick gang here with me. I've got Ricki, Lachlan, and David. Boys, welcome.
Hey, can I just say that opener was a perfect encapsulation of what this show is?
Oh, yeah.
100%.
A clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Yes. In the best way.
And joining me as well this week as well is the prodigal daughter herself, JJ. JJ, welcome.
Thank you.
and occasionally returning radio personality Michael Thompson. Michael, welcome.
Hello. It's actually my back-to-back episode. I don't think I've ever done a back-to-back episode on Pint Party yet, so this is a first for me.
This is a
of
first.
Episodes. I want to start the podcast off with a bit of a fun fact. Not a fun fact for us because we just talked about it, but for the listeners, it's just a quick tally of through 50 episodes where we all currently sit as cast members. John, for the sake of it, you were considered, all right, because you're in fucking all of them.
Yes.
All right, even that episode 41 where you literally just did it yourself, which complete respect to you on that, brother. As it stands, Michael, good moment. Back to back, this is your 5th episode.
Woof.
JJ, this is your 12th episode.
Excellent.
Ricki, 31. Right up Lockie is 33. And then I'm at 39. I really thought I was on more.
So did I.
I really thought I would have been on more. But that's where we currently sit as cast members, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's really good. I like having the variety. I mean, honestly, if it were up to me, I'd have y'all on every single episode because I like talking to all of you.
Aww.
Oh, thanks, Johnny.
All right, now that I've given you all the proverbial reach around, let's get into some gimmicks.
All right, hold on. I want to start. I'm going to put Ricki over for this because I was talking to Ricki last night, and I want to know if you remember exactly how you pitched it, Ricki. But Ricki has the idea of a blockbuster Jenga movie.
Oh,
Ooh.
yes.
A what?
A blockbuster Hollywood Jenga film. Hear him out. Hear him out.
I'll give you some backstory. We were doing online pub trivia one night last night, which was one of the best things to come out of the quarantine. Just FYI. But one of the questions was, which of these? I think it was just board games in general, or just games, hasn't been at least rumored to be a Hollywood movie? And it was like Monopoly, Hungry Hippos, Jenga. There was a few more, but they're like all ridiculous ones that you like.
Hot Wheels, like yeah.
You would struggle to like come up with a plot. And we were like debating which one, like of the, I think 6 options, which one hasn't been rumored. And I put my hand up and said, obviously, no, I think I said it wasn't.
No, because you started by saying that. Wait a minute.
It was definitely Jenga.
Yeah, Jenga has to have had one because hear me out. Here's how it would go, and you talked us out of it.
Yeah. Okay. So my pitch for the Jenga movie goes like this. So you have this world that is like a weird sort of like world where, have any of you seen Food Fight or know of Food Fight?
Yeah.
I know of it.
A weird world where like both the like fantasy world of the characters in the show, but then like the real world exists simultaneously. So it's like a toy store. So it's like fucking Toys R Us, and all the toys are alive, and you know they fit into certain places, and the Jenga blocks, they all fit together, and there's one Jenga block who he doesn't feel like he fits in there anymore, so he leaves, and the whole Jenga block just they all fall down because he left. Because he feels like he's meant for something bigger. He feels like he's meant for something more in this world. So he goes around and he goes to all these other board games that are also sentient, that live inside the toy store. And then he realizes after many adventures and many misadventures, and he falls in love maybe, and he realizes that the only place he ever really fit was inside the Jenga tower, and he has to go back, and he has to put the Jenga tower back together. And when he does, he's complete in his whole, and he realizes that he's a part of a bigger community that isn't just him. He can't be selfish. He belongs to so much more than just himself.
And he's voiced
my pitch.
And he's Toy Story 4.
I'm going to add to this. He's voiced by Vin Diesel, and there has to be a line in it saying, "There's nothing more important than family."
I was thinking more of like a John Mulaney or even Nick Kroll. I think would be a cool voice, because I want someone who's like a little bit zany, but can then pull it back into something more, even like a potentially a Seth Rogen.
Yeah, no, you're well. Seth Rogen did Sausage Party, and he wasn't too bad in that.
Well, exactly.
But do you want it to be a comedy, Ricki?
Well, it's got to be. Yeah,
that's
for sure.
the thing. It can be a comedy, but like a Pixar comedy is one that is going to hit you with a fucking gut punch of feelings at some point.
So kind of like Toy Story 2.
It's
a little bit like Toy Story.
I feel like it's Toy Story meets the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But just the fact that I came up with something very similar to that last night during trivia, managed to talk everyone in the group out of choosing it as the answer of something that wasn't pitched, only to then find out when they read out the answers that it was the answer.
Okay. Technically, Ricki, you weren't wrong. You weren't wrong in that because you pitched it. You did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not
Our
entirely.
conclusion was like, of all the games there, Jenga could fit into most any concept. It's just something like pull things out and then things fall. Like, but then the fact that you talked us out of winning that round of pub trivia because you'd pitched the most fucking solid Jenga concept of all time. Excellent.
Yeah, look. These ideas just come to me, and because I've seen so many shitty animated movies that it wrote itself. Honestly, it was a little bit of the Lego Movie. It was a little bit of the like, not saying the Lego Movie's bad, but it was a little bit Lego Movie. It was a little bit the Emoji Movie. It was a little bit Toy Story. It was just all of those things just wrapped up into a nice little Jenga block of bullshit. And I thought it did a good job.
I'm not gonna lie, but the one actor that I love hearing the voice of, no matter how shit the animated movie is, but you got to have him in anyway, is everyone's favorite voice actor, Mr. Patrick Stewart, because he just does so well in one character.
How is he a shit voice actor?
No.
You would only.
He was literally a shit voice actor. He was the poop emoji in the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, that's true.
He was also Deputy Director Bullock in American Dad 2, which he does a fantastic
He's hilarious.
job of.
He's hilarious.
Alternatively, I think that Patrick Warburton needs to play a part in this movie as well.
Oh my god, Patrick Warburton needs to do more. Just more.
He's incredible. I love that man.
Patrick Warburton would be his dad. The Vin Diesel character would be the character that turns our little Jenga piece around, like gets him to realize that he has to go back to the Jenga pile and fix what he did. Like, he has to be the mentor. That would be the Vin Diesel character.
Yeah.
Wait, who handles Fast and the Furious? Is that Paramount or is it
Universal.
Yes,
it's Universal.
Universal.
Okay, I was going to say if it's a property that's like, if it's a company that's owned by Disney, you could just straight up license and have Dominic Toretto action figure do that line and just be straight, just play it straight.
True, I mean, because we had a very, very similar thing to that in Toy Story 4. We had Keanu Reeves playing a very Keanu Reeves type character.
New Kaboom, Canada's best favorite stuntman.
That's it. I was trying to think of the name.
Don't test me on Toy Story. I know everything.
No, that's fair. And like that fourth movie was a work of art, and I loved it.
It was incredible.
Yeah,
it's the best one of the Toy Stories.
Oh, I don't know about that. Toy Story 2 is still elite.
Yeah. But also the good thing, if this Jenga movie is ever licensed by Universal or Disney, is the potential to get Jenga the movie, the ride.
Oh my god!
Oh my fucking god!
Also, just as an aside, if that ever happens, copyright registered trademark as of this date.
TM.
Yeah. If anyone comes after the Jenga movie, I pitched it here first. You owe me money.
I can attest to it. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got Lawyer Boy. Lawyer Boy is present. Fuck yes.
Fair enough. You've expressed it well.
And you're all officially now executive producers. You're welcome.
Woo!
Woo!
It's a fucking good concept.
I love it.
Anyway.
You just got me reminiscent over pub trivia now. Fuck.
How does it work? That's the one thing that never really made sense. Like, I'd see the snaps from you guys being like, doing pub trivia tonight, and it'd just be like a monitor, a beer, and a live stream. And I was like, well, that's a pretty dope way of like just spending a Friday night. But like, how do you interact with?
So okay, there's inherent difficulty to it as well because it's online. All right.
Yeah.
So he does a stream that he does on Quizmeisters, which shout out Quizmeisters, fucking love you guys if you're listening. And one guy does the host. He does it every Friday night, and he runs through 18 or 20 questions, right? And they're all like general 20 questions. A couple of gimmick rounds, some of music. They're across all kind of facets or fields, right? The problem is that obviously you can't. You can't stop someone from Googling shit. So whilst we play with the honor system, there's undoubtedly, and there has to be, because especially yesterday's one, that motherfucker, there was a question, which I'll, like, just really quickly for everyone, what was it? 50, how much Bitcoins would it take you to buy 50 base iPhone 11s?
Yeah.
What?
Oh man, that means you have to know what the current price of Bitcoin is.
You would have to know the current price of Bitcoin when he decided to write there was a bit of controversy, but the true controversy was the fact that someone missed it by like 0.0 something, which you got to sit back and just go, come on, like if we're all playing with the honor system, ain't no way a motherfucker is getting that close to guessing how much Bitcoins goes into that, and then the whole system breaks at that point.
Dave, was I right with Crokenbush for that fucking pastry?
Oh, yeah, 100% right. 100% right.
Done.
It was Crokenbush or however the fuck you want to say it.
Right.
Like,
I've made one before, so I know how it works.
All right, so Dave, I assume you know the answer to that Bitcoin question, but don't tell it to me. But do you know the answer?
Yeah, I can remember it vaguely. I can get it to within a point something.
All right, that's fine. Because I want to try and guess this out because I'm feeling confident. I reckon I could figure this out. Just not without any Googling. I'm going to do this straight off the top of my head right now. So a base, what did you say, an iPhone 11?
11 base model.
Okay, an iPhone
50 of them.
Okay, an iPhone 11 base model is I'm gonna do it off of US dollars. Because that's how the price of Bitcoin is priced. So the base model of an iPhone 11 in the US is about $900 to $1,000. Let's call it $1,000 to make things nice and even. I'm going to round things around, so I won't get an exact price. So it's about $1,000. So right out of the gate, that means you need 50 of those. So that's 50 grand. And the price of Bitcoin, while fluctuating around, has started to come back. We're in the middle of a bull market. It's about to go bear. So the price of a Bitcoin, I think, is about 15 grand at the moment is where it's sitting. It started to bounce back. It hasn't hit its peak, which was at 20 before it all collapsed a couple of years ago. So that means you've got to divvy 15 into 50. So that's 15, 30, 45. That's 3.5 Bitcoin.
It was about 6.35, something like that, Ricki?
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
6.3.
It was definitely.
What was the fucking
higher than
price
I
of
thought.
Bitcoin when he wrote that fucking question?
Yeah, like that's what we were fucking shocked at because we were sitting there and I'm just like, look, I remember when Bitcoin used to be fuck off huge, but I do remember it collapsing. But it's also risen because the fact that, we're going through the pandemic, stocks take a bit of a hit, which means Bitcoin generally goes up, right? So we're like, all right, it's got to be, it can't be any higher than about 15 grand per Bitcoin.
Okay, I see where I got my maths wrong. 1 Bitcoin equals 15,000 Australian dollars, but it's worth 9,000 US dollars. And I did everything in US dollars. So actually, it's 5 Bitcoin.
Down there. It was about 6 point something.
Yeah.
Right? And like we're sitting back and we're getting the tally at the end of the fucking trivia last night, and someone has missed the perfect score by like one vote. By like one question. It's because they didn't win that question.
Yeah, that's
and they were like
fun.
point something off. So you're like, oh, pub trivia is great when it's in a pub. But online, it's so cheeky.
It wouldn't even matter if that was offline. Like that's still a fucked question no matter what. I don't think that's a good...
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful question. No, it's a beautifully fucked question.
Yeah, it's fucked because like a pub trivia thing should be knowledge that is like, I mean, that's a constant, like gravity or something. Bitcoin is changing hour to hour. Like, I mean, I looked at the price now, but I guarantee you by the end of the podcast, the price will have changed. And
absolutely.
It could move a couple of bucks. It could move $1,000. It could move $10,000 in an hour. So yeah, that's why that question's so fucked because you can't know it off the top of your head.
That question was only for a tiebreaker situation.
I was just going to say, I heard that, I was reading up before the pandemic hit that like Bitcoin was taking a massive hit because a lot of people were getting into it that the stocks had dropped on Bitcoin. But after hearing all of that, it sounds like, Bitcoin's on the way back up again. Yeah, no, Bitcoin's been on the way back for the last 12 months. So a couple of years ago, it was at its peak. It was worth about 20,000 US dollars a coin. And that's when everybody started to get into it. It became kind of basically the ability to buy Bitcoin and stuff got way easier to do. You didn't have to do any complex shit. You could literally just download an app and start buying, connect your bank account and start buying Bitcoin. And at that point, like loads and loads of people bought it, thinking, classic economic mistake, thinking that the price was always going to go up. So they bought into it and bought into it and bought into it. But the problem was that everybody was, at a certain point, people wanted to try and cash out, and too many people tried to cash out, and then it just caused a bust in the market because everybody was like, fuck yeah, all these people want to buy. And then, the whole thing busted, and it collapsed down to about, I think it got down as low as like $2,000 for a Bitcoin. It got ridiculously, stupidly cheap for a while. And then it started to bounce back. And like, I mean, it was slowly rising again. It was kind of a huge market correction. And then like it slowly came back. Welcome to Bitcoin Chat with John McLeish, where we talk about Bitcoin and its past pricing.
We talk about You're the only one who knows it.
I'm going to play complete ignorance here because when I first heard of Bitcoin, which I think was probably in like 2018, I literally thought it was something you could buy in the supermarket. I want to buy. What
honey.
is this Bitcoin? I need a Bitcoin so I can say, "Hey guys, look, I got a Bitcoin, like a physical thing."
Okay, well, you're not okay. So you're not entirely right.
Tarzo, JJ.
Well, I was I'm like, is it like a Tazo thing? I'm very confused by this, but I want one.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. I think I'm pretty sure there was a place that offered that allowed, like, I think there was some company that was setting up kind of like ATM like machines where you could buy Bitcoin from them, and you just used it like an ATM. And so maybe one of those was in a shopping center, and so you could have, but no, it's not a physical thing. That's
John, can I trust to ask you from a complete layman perspective? Can you explain why a fucking one Bitcoin costs so much?
So okay,
purely layman. Purely layman. Don't even get technical with it.
Ooh, okay.
Because I have no idea what a Bitcoin actually.
Okay.
I got an idea, but for the listeners, I want something to be able to taken away from this. If you can purely describe and explain why one Bitcoin can be worth so much.
Yep. No, that's a good question.
In a layman, go.
Yeah, that's a good. No, that's a good question. Okay, in layman's terms, basically, it costs so much because people are betting on. Like, people who buy it are betting on the coin replacing fiat. No, I shouldn't say that. Replacing cash. So people are betting on the fact that Bitcoins will become the global currency that everybody on Earth will use. So instead of having US dollars and Aussie dollars and Japanese yen and Russian rubles, everybody just uses Bitcoin everywhere. And so because there are only, but Bitcoin isn't an infinite resource. There will only ever be, oh shit, I can't remember the exact number, but so many 100,000 Bitcoin out there.
So why is it not infinite? I always thought it was infinite.
No,
which led me to my logic of, if it's infinite, why don't you just make it 1-to-1?
Yeah.
One Bitcoin is worth $1 per US standard or something.
So that leads into like the core function of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, by its nature, because it's a digital thing, you could make it infinite. But what's his fucking name? Satoshi Nakamoto, or that the person who went by that handle designed it so that it was a scarce digital resource. So
it has been deliberately designed to deliberately be scarce.
Yeah, and it becomes more and more scarce due to like, and again, this was designed in the system. Like the white paper that was written about it, like had this in mind, that some people would buy Bitcoin and then just either lose the hard drive that had the keys on it, or forget that they had Bitcoins, or they would just sit on it to have a piece of it just to have it. Like, I've got some Bitcoin that I have just to have. Like, I'm never going to spend it. I just wanted a piece of the action, just to say I had some Bitcoin just for funsies. So that being said, though, I don't have a lot. Like, I've got like $10 worth of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting on a fucking gold mine. But those people, because they're taking some of the Bitcoin out of circulation, they make the rest of the Bitcoin that is still in circulation worth more, because there's now even less of it out there.
Okay. Yeah, because the only reason I ask is purely because I want people to understand it from a layman's perspective. But like, I have stocks, and when people talk about stocks to me and they compare it to Bitcoin, and I go, no, they're inherent. They got to be different. They got to be different, because I always just assumed Bitcoin could be made infinite. So I never really understood, why is it priced so highly if its end objective is to be considered as the better currency than what we have as the gold standard?
Well, we don't even use the gold standard.
No, we don't use the gold standard anymore, but Bitcoin is arguably starting how the gold standard started. It's a scarce resource.
Yeah.
That's priced highly, and the reason why it's priced so much highly is because people are taking gold away and not using gold for the use of commercial, using it to buy shit.
Well, yeah, it's a scarce resource. It's scarcity. Yeah. Well,
interesting that it was made deliberately scarce. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. No, it's made deliberately scarce.
So if it wasn't made deliberately scarce, could the argument then be made that it would already have overtaken currency?
No. Then the price of it, then you'd end up with hyperinflation, and the price of Bitcoin would drop to less than a cent.
Oh, but if it's regulated better than it is now. But I guess the problem is that you can't really regulate it.
Yeah, you can't. That goes against the core principle of it. Like, the point is that it's supposed to be completely decentralized and unregulated. Like, the only regulation, the regulator, is the program itself.
Yeah, fair enough. See, I've learned something today.
I'm still confused, but I'm always going to be confused.
It's a confusing thing to talk about. It really is, and it's also really confusing when you try and talk to like crypto, like people who are like hardcore into crypto. They're like, yeah, and those people are like the real true believers are the people who are like, yeah, it's going to replace cash. But like, a lot of people, and I mean like a lot of people, and I'm positive that the Winklevoss twins, who I like to collectively refer to as the Winklevi, they're not buying it because like it's going to replace cash. They're buying it because they want to make a fuck ton of money when it does replace cash. Like they're buying it to speculate. They're not buying it to like bring about the utopian vision. Whereas,
do you think it will? Do you think it will? Do you think it's inevitable that a cryptocurrency will eventually overtake what we have now?
Okay, that's a good question. Yes, will a cryptocurrency do it? I think so. Will Bitcoin be that cryptocurrency? No, absolutely not. Like it's a really great idea, but like I mean I feel like the reasoning behind Bitcoin was as a proof of concept. It's like, could this thing be done? Is it possible? Yes, it is. But there's a lot of inherent flaws within Bitcoin. Like, I mean, a big part of the problem was that, say you wanted to like wire somebody some money. So like, I mean, let's say we're let's do it like this. We're at the pub, right? And we go, okay, we're at the pub. We've had a whole bunch of palmers and some beers and some shit. And we go, cool. And the bill comes due. And the bill is, let's say the bill's $100 just to make things easy. And we go, okay, well, let's all send some money to Dave, and Dave will pay the bill because this pub doesn't offer split bills because they're fucked. So we go, okay, so we're going to give all our money to Dave. That's fine. And we all divvy it up and we send it all to Dave. But the problem is that not only do we have to send Dave the money, we then also have to pay a transfer fee. And for the most part, like banks don't do that. Normal banks don't do that. And even if they do, the transfer fee is so low you don't even notice it. But in cryptocurrency, especially in Bitcoin, the transfer fee can be as high as $30. So if you want, and that doesn't matter how much you want to send. If you want to send $1, you want to send $100, you want to send $1 million, the price doesn't change. So basically, the more you send, the cheaper it gets to send, basically. But the price kind of sits at around the $30 mark, which means for ordinary purchases, for ordinary shit, it just doesn't make sense.
Interesting.
And that's also not instantaneous too. That means you get put into a queue and you have to wait for the blockchain to verify that transfer. So that means that like it's not an instantaneous transfer. It could take, it could take 1 second, but it could also take a day. Well, probably not a day, but it could take a few hours for that to verify. So that means, it just doesn't make sense in an ordinary person's life to use Bitcoin, just because it doesn't really work. And they've made some add-ons to it. Like somebody made a thing called Lightning, which basically fixes that problem. But the fact that you had to bolt onto a thing to Bitcoin to make it work means that it inherently doesn't work. You've got to build a whole other system from the ground up to make that whole thing work. And so I think a cryptocurrency might take over, because having so many different global currencies just doesn't make any sense anymore either. Just from a like, as we become a more globalized world and we become a more united species, like that just doesn't make sense. So we have to come up with something. What that is, though, I don't know.
Could not agree more. I'm moving away from Bitcoin.
I was going to say I'm enjoying this cryptocurrency talk because I knew sweet FA about Bitcoin and like all the insides and stuff like that with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So John, Yang, Ricki, I applaud you three in particular because people like myself and JJ, we've taken notes today. No.
I just completely took a huge nap during that entire thing.
This pod.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
And Lock too. Lock plays a lot as well.
No, that's cool. That's cool. The one thing I'm just going to leave it with then, the one line, just to put it in absolute layman's terms, is Bitcoin, for some people, is internet cash, and for other people, it's internet stocks. That's all. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's it.
I get that.
Yeah. So that's it. All right, let's move on to something else. Let's talk about how to get out of bed. Because Lockie brought this up. He was like, as like an idea, he was like, let's talk about how we get out of bed. And like, what did you say, Lock? Do you roll out or do you jump out? Was that what you were saying?
Yeah, it's like, do you either jump out of bed or do you roll out of bed in the morning? Because I always feel like it does change the certain mindset of your day.
I think that's like a really, really solid concept to go on. So, okay, I'm going to start first because I feel like my situation is radically different to all y'all. So I don't roll out of bed and I don't jump out of bed because if I did either of those, I'd probably break like multiple bones in my body. I slither out of bed.
You climb out of bed.
I climb out of bed. Yeah. Well, no. At first I crawl, and then I kind of have to slither, and then I climb. Because of just like because of how close my bed is to the ceiling. Oh, and for those at home, yeah, I've got a bunk bed that like has a desk on the bottom. That's my bed.
For those who don't have their, because I know, Locke, you have your bed against the wall, so you really only have two ways to get out: either one to your left or at the end of you. But for those who have their bed in the middle of the room, not middle of the room, but up against the wall where you can get off a left or right, I feel like, let's say double bed. So I'll use mine as an example. Now, I for starters, I like to take it a step back. I start my morning by hitting the snooze a couple of times. I'm like you, John. I listened to the last episode.
Yeah.
Listen to the last episode. I'm a snoozer.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hit that snooze, I reckon, at least 4 times.
Fuck yeah, brother.
At least 4 times.
Preach it.
I'm not, I have no shame in admitting it. I will deliberately actually set an alarm far earlier to then be getting that unceremonious wake up to then have the joy of hitting snooze 4 times
Fucking
to wake up at the time I decide.
That's you living your best life, my brother.
Yeah, no, I'm about that. So respect to you, John. Fucking internet fist bump. I respect that.
What's the difference between the snooze buttons, by the way, Yang? Like you said, you got your 4 snooze, but you hit the snooze button 4 times. Is that like over every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes?
I don't know how to fucking change it. I don't know whether you even can, but mine's set to 9 minutes.
Oh, it depends.
It's just an odd 9 minutes.
It depends on
That's
what you
really
use.
specific.
I don't know how to fucking change it. It's just 9 minutes as comes out of the box from my iPhone.
Yeah, it depends. So, like, on my Android phone, you can set a default of, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. But then also, now they did an Android update, and now when it goes off, you can even modify it while the alarm is going off, which is fucking grand. But
that's too much power.
Yeah, I know it is. It's a lot of power. It's caused me quite a few problems just so far. I was almost late to this recording for that very reason. But but then my Amazon smart device, which I won't say the name because I don't want to piss anybody off, but my Amazon smart device, again, it's like the iPhone. It's 9 minutes. For some of you can't change that. It's so weird.
So mine's about 9 minute intervals, and I hit it reckon at least 4 times. Now, when I finish that little ceremony I like to do in my mornings, I get out of the bed on the left side. Now, I'm a jump out of bed person. Always. I don't understand how people can roll out of bed.
Can you just walk us through how do you jump because I don't understand that at all.
So okay, I don't know whether it's I'm not going to say I'm so athletically inclined because I think a lot of people can do it, but I'll throw the doona off. I'll throw the doona off, all right, and it goes flying. I don't make my bed. People are really getting a peek into how I live my bedroom life. I don't make my bed, so I throw that doona off, and what I do is I do a swift right shoulder over, left arm on bed, completely lying on the bed. And I have enough strength in the arm to literally, as I'm in one motion, throwing my right shoulder over to the left side of my body, I then fling off my left arm, my legs go up, and I land standing.
Holy shit.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
wow.
So I jump out of bed. But that is such an easy movement for me. And I used to be a roll out of bed person, and I don't know what changed. I used to be a roll out of bed person. I'd roll out and I'd land on my knees, or I'd land hunched over. And I don't know whether it hurt my back in the long run because I was doing it for so long, early childhood. But then just something clicked in me, maybe when I started gym. But you start with that jump in the morning and you get a pep to your step. I've always had a pep to my step. That's why I'm a morning person. It's why I'm particularly a morning person. I get a mad pep to my step when I do that jump out of bed. And I've been doing it for years now.
I know he's a very big morning person. He is, Yang. I know that full well. Seeing him on a Friday morning, he is so energetic at 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. For people who are roll out of bedders, I would genuinely urge you to just try and do the jump out of bed.
Assuming it's safe to do so.
Easy. Don't break your springs or anything. We don't want to.
I was going to say, the last time I jumped out of bed was when my bed was in the corner. So, like you said, you've got 2 options, the end of the bed or the side of the bed. And I was getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work. And I thought, all that bullshit you just said, David, to yourself. Yeah, I'm going to attack the day aggressively, blah, 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 all that fucking bullshit. Did that kip up move to try and jump out of the end of my bed. Did my back.
Oh, no.
So, and I didn't realize I felt a twinge when I kipped up and landed on my feet at the end of my bed. And then, heading to the shower, my towel was on the floor next to the door. So I bent down to grab the towel and I got about halfway down. That was as far as I could get. And I was like, oh no, this is bad. I can't fucking bend over anymore. So no more getting out of bed for me like that. I'm a roller now and I'm okay with that. And everyone else should be as well.
I will say this though, it's I'm going to put this into pro wrestling terms for those at home. Basically, you could try and pretend to be an early 90s Shawn Michaels, or in Ricky's case, you could be a 1998 Shawn Michaels with the bad back.
Jeez, that is fucking oddly specific, Michael.
It is oddly specific.
For anyone who literally doesn't know wrestling, that is way over their head.
Yep, I'm lost.
Yep.
You
God.
just spoken, Russian to me just then, Michael. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Just completely gone.
So going off of Ricky's thing, I get out of bed in two different ways depending on what's happening. So if my boyfriend is in bed with me, he sleeps like a motherfucker. Like nothing can wake him. So I tend to just what I call a creep out of bed to not wake him.
Hold on, are you genuinely in the big or small or little spoon position at that point?
Big spoon, obviously.
Good respect. Respect on you.
JJ don't fuck around.
On you.
Thank you. Yeah, but on a normal morning, I can't roll out of my bed either way because I'll either hit my head on my bedside table or I'll literally hit the floor and my guitar will probably squish me. So, and jumping out of bed, I will hit the lampshade because I'm clumsy. So I have a technique I've coined, the Frankenstein.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So like in those old monster movies when the monster's laying on like the metal table and then they come to life and they slowly rise up with their arms in front of them and then they slip their legs down and they stand up off the table?
Yep.
I do that.
Oh, yeah.
Without the arms.
We call that the Undertaker.
I was about to say.
We call that the Undertaker.
Yeah, it's called the Undertaker.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool, done. That's what I do.
I also second. I'm the same as well with JJ as well. When I get out of bed, I also start the day by undertaking it up, and then taking 2 steps to my right to get officially out of bed.
I feel like the Undertaker is like it's got to be the regular where people like I'm not a back sleeper, but I can imagine most people are back sleepers. I don't know. I think I'm weird because I'm a side sleeper.
I'm a side sleeper.
I'm a side belly sleeper. I love to fall asleep on the
sleep in every which way.
I'm a side back sleeper.
I can't sleep on the back. I can't do it. Nothing about the back is comfortable to me at all.
I'm a side, back, front, upside down sleeper.
But to that point, then, if you're a back, and I think the majority might be back sleepers. If you're a back sleeper, I just want to know if the Undertaker is like the go-to move for you, where it's like you wake up, you're on your back, and then without rolling to your sides, you just sit up.
Yeah.
Yep. I do.
You just sit up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the Undertaker it's the go. Fair enough.
Yeah. No. So like when I've slept in beds that aren't my bunk bed set up. So like when I'm in hotels and stuff, that's what I'll do. Like I'll like it. Well, it really depends. Actually no. Even if I wake up on my side, I'll roll onto my back and then sit up. I'm not doing that Frankenstein thing with the arms out in front of me going. Ooh. But like
you're Undertakering though.
But I am Undertakering. Like I get and then I'll sit there. It's actually really nice because then you'll sit there for like a minute and just sort of like kind of go through your boot up sequence and just be like and get over the first few seconds where you fucking hate every atom in the entire universe, and then by the time like that rage has subsided for another day, you can then like you swing your legs out and climb out of bed and start your day.
I have a question for all the side sleepers in this pod right now. How often, from least common to most common, will you start to sleep on, say, your left side or your right side when you sleep on the side, and then when you wake up the next morning, you wake up on the opposite side?
Oh, every time.
Every time. Most times.
Yeah.
Most times.
If I sleep alone, I will toss and turn apparently like every 20 to 30 minutes. If there's someone else in the bed, then I've got like a barrier that stops me from doing that. But yeah, apparently I've been told by a mate of mine who was watching me sleep after a sesh one afternoon. I was in his bed and he was like walking past and he's like, every 20 minutes you flip to the other side. I will just roll over in my sleep back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. Apparently I can't get comfortable on one side for long enough.
I'm the same. But that's to my detriment because I actually still roll off the bed.
Oh no, I just go back and forth. I find like a center spot in the mattress and then like roll to one side. And then I'll roll back to the other side. So I'm always in the middle of the mattress, but I'm just rolling back and forward from side to side. I can't, same as you, can't sleep on my back at all, stomach or my sides. But yeah, apparently I just like flip-flop all night.
It just feels psychopathic to sleep on my back. Like I feel like
you're using psychopathic to describe something that is inaccurate.
It's just or sociopathic. It's got like I think of people.
It just feels wrong, Dave.
I just think of people who lie on their back. I just immediately imagine them in a vampiric sense, where both their hands are crossed on their chest.
Yep.
And I'm like, how can you sleep like that?
Yep.
Don't you feel heavy? Like,
no.
your neck? I need my arms
up. I need my arms to be in the most uncomfortable position possible for me then to go to sleep.
Oh, I actually kind of want my arm to lose feeling as it goes under my pillow, and I've rested my head on it, and then I can feel my pinky tingle a little bit, and I'm like, oh, that's what sleep feels like.
Comfortable?
I was going to say for
That doesn't feel too comfortable at all.
For every single side sleeper or belly sleeper out there, have you ever had your arm like in a position where it has fully lost feeling?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So many times.
I had that happen to me once, and it was under my chest. I was sleeping on my stomach, but my arm was under my chest.
I've been
and
there.
my other arm was above me under the pillow. I had a dream where my arm got tore off.
Oh shit!
Ooh.
When I woke
you
up,
just lost feeling.
Well, I think that's what might have happened. But as I've woken up and I'm still in that groggy, like half dream, half wake up reality, I've used my other arm to reach over to where I thought my other arm would be, the one that was asleep, and I couldn't feel it next to my head under the pillow. And then I'm moving over to the other side of the mattress, still not being able to feel it. And at this point, I'm freaking the fuck out, believing that at some point between me going to sleep and waking up, someone has ripped my fucking. And then finally, I realized, as I've sort of propped myself up, that my arm is under my chest and has fully lost all. Just because of the way I was lying, all the blood had been cut off to it for maybe 5 minutes, and I had to get up and continually shake it to get all the blood flow back into it. And having pins and needles from your shoulder to the tips of your fingers is a fucking weird feeling, and I did not like it at all.
I once had such a bad loss of feeling that when I had woken up, I didn't regain sensation in my pinky until about halfway through the day.
Wow.
That's some fucked circulation, dude.
No, but I was on my arm the entire night. The entire night. There's also been and I don't JJ, you probably have vastly more experience being in the relationship for the longest here. But when you sleep with your partner, at least from my perspective, because I like to run big spoon, I will do the arm under the pillow / head, and I'm a bitch. I'm a bitch when it comes to this. I have no balls when it comes to hey, can I have my arm back? I will just accept it.
I've circumvented this issue because I'm small. Kian's a lot taller than me. If I'm being big spoon, I just won't put the arm under. I'll just sort of lodge it next to my stomach and then just use the right arm over.
Okay.
So I completely circumvent the issue because otherwise my arm goes dead within 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. I hear you.
I've
tried that once, but I've still lost feeling there.
Whereas Kian when I'm little spoon, he just does the whole thing and he's fine for hours. I just can't.
I can guarantee you though. I'm not going to say for certain, but I can guarantee that he's not actually. He's just come to accept it because I'm the
I think
same.
so as well.
I'll never speak up. I won't speak up about it, but I will wake up and I'll be like, God damn it, my fucking arm is numb. But there's nothing I can do about it. She's asleep. I'm just going to leave it there.
I toss and turn a lot in bed. So, no matter what's happening, I don't think his arm would ever get dead anyway because of the fact that I move so much.
Yeah, this is fair.
It's ridiculous.
But also, that would explain why you don't want to have your arm underneath him, because otherwise you just wrench your shoulder in the middle of the night.
But also, if I worked out, it happened one time and I made that mistake. If my arm's under him and he's asleep, my arm goes dead. I physically have to wake him up to ask him if he can move to get my arm back.
Oh, that sucks. Well, actually, okay. So given that this is a common enough problem, I have seen mattresses designed to get around this. Would you consider purchasing one of those?
I know the mattress you were talking about because it has the slits where you can slip your arm in.
Yeah.
I genuinely have because I'm a side and stomach sleeper. I would be using it with or without another person in the bed anyway. I'd be slipping an arm through there regardless. I reckon it's such a good concept.
Yeah,
I wouldn't, because if I put my arm in there, I'd feel like my arm was going to get eaten by something.
Oh, so you wouldn't think it's kind of like having your arm inside of a big soft cushy pillow sort of a thing. Not to mention,
I think I was inside the mouth of a shark or something, and then wake up because I thought I was going to die.
I mean, also,
I find comfort in that though.
Well, I mean, for me, it's sort of how much of your arm, because I don't think you'd put your entire arm in there and then leave it in there. I think the idea is that it's really just to give you enough room to get your elbow underneath without it causing the rest of your arm to go numb, and then you'd wrap your arm around your partner. Isn't that kind of the idea? So you're not got your entire arm in there.
It is the idea, but I'm a ridiculously light sleeper. So any weird thing that, if I move and my bed creaks, I wake up. If I move and I hit a lump in my bed, I'll wake up. So I feel like anything that is not just a flat mattress would immediately make me wake up.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And then I
Do you-
freak out.
Do you prefer a firmer mattress to a really, really sink-in mattress?
Yes, and the only exception I'll make is waterbed.
I feel
God.
that. I feel that.
I'm
As, and I don't know whether it's just an Asian thing, because like I've spent a lot of time in China and overseas in the Asian countries, and they run firm beds, like real firm beds. And because of that, I genuinely fuck with a firmer bed than like a sink-in bed. But I feel like a lot of people do fuck with the sink-in beds. Like Ricki was just saying just before, he likes to sink into a spot. I'm like, no, I need to have sturdiness in my bed.
Bro, since I got a memory foam mattress, like I just never went back. Like that's it. Memory foam is the way to go all the way because it's the best of both worlds. Like I used to sleep on a firmness. Yeah. I bought a mattress from IKEA, and that was like a firm spring mattress. And that was good, but the problem is that like, you know, eventually, you know, the springs start to go out and it gets softer and softer, and but it happens so slowly you don't even notice. And then by the time I got a memory foam mattress, that felt way firmer. And it took a couple of days of getting used to, but every morning I would wake up and my back would be a little bit stiff, but not stiff in the sense of like, ooh, it feels bad, but stiff in the sense that like my spine was straight the entire night. Like it keeps my spine straight. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, it's a good feeling to like wake up with like a spine that doesn't like feel bad.
I'm actually in the same boat as Johnny when it comes to it. Like I've got a memory foam mattress at home and I absolutely love it. But Dave, I've also been to countries as well where I've had to sleep on like real firm beds. Like I've been to India 3 times, and sleeping on those firm beds, you kind of appreciate the comfort of the mattress. You get to sleep in your own home a lot more when you're overseas, and I felt that a lot when I was in India those 3 times, because there were times when I couldn't sleep properly only because like it was a lot more firmer than to my liking, and the pillows were too. Like the pillows were like rock hard solids. Like they weren't the soft, like fluffy, like because I've got bamboo pillows and I love my bamboo pillows, but not having them with me when I go overseas, they kind of annoy me a little bit because my head feels like it's sleeping on like concrete.
Yeah, no. When it comes to the pillows of like, especially when it comes to like Southeast Asian pillows, they do it like hard, and I'm not about that. Like when it comes to pillow, I'm going for fluff. I'm going for softness. But I'm the opposite. I need a firmer bed, I feel more comfortable in it.
Yeah, that's what I like about a memory foam. Like it gives you all the firmness you want with the sinking feeling. Like you get into a memory foam and you'll sink about, you know, an inch and a half, but then that's it. Like then you kind of like quote unquote bottom out, and then it's firm mattress. So you kind of get this sort of like you get the best of both worlds.
You know what?
I like memory foam pillows.
I want a memory foam pillow. Holy
they're
fuck, I want one so
awesome.
bad, but they're like $100 a pop, and it's like fuck. Because if you're gonna
I
buy
got
one
on sale. It was really great.
Oh my god, I want memory foam pillow so bad. Oh.
Currently googling memory foam mattress. I might make a impulse quarantine purchase.
Okay,
you can buy memory foam mattress toppers.
Okay, hang on. If I might make a suggestion of where to buy one, because the one I bought, they did me right. Not sponsor of the show at all. Koala?
Mattress.
Yeah,
I was gonna say koala. Yeah.
Not only. Okay, so I bought the single mattress from them, and I got it. You can also get $100 off if you sign up for their emailing program. They'll give you a code for $100 off a mattress. And honest to God, the best thing about it is that like they'll deliver it to you within like A, the delivery's free in Melbourne, and B, they'll deliver it to you within like, you know, like the next day. So you could buy one today, get one tomorrow.
Oh, I don't know if I'm about the $1,000 price tag though.
Yeah, that's memory foam mattresses are expensive, bro. It's a premium product. You're paying a premium, but think about it like this, bro. It's a thing that you're spending a shitload of time on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is true. Like, you're wrong. You're not wrong.
It's like it's a big purchase, but it's like it's up there in terms of importance with like your car and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it's a thing you're going to spend a lot of time on and it's a thing that's going to affect your health in like a lot of ways. So yeah, it's something you want to spend the money on.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I might give it a little bit of consideration.
Oh yeah, no.
Because I'm looking at my mattress now, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just now that you got me in my feels. I'm thinking back to like when I was in China. I'm just like, I love a firmer mattress. I want a firmer mattress.
Yeah.
You're right. I just spend a lot of goddamn time on my bed. It's my office at the moment.
Exactly. But also the beauty of the firmer mattress as well is that like it's like you can lie in it and it's great, but you can also just sit on it, and so like, you know, you can sit up in it, and like if you want to like have your laptop in front of you, and that's just as viable. It works like as like a couch just as much as it works as a bed.
This is fair. This is very fair.
Yeah, it's a fucking good. And also the thing with koala is like because I would actually recommend like buying it just to try it. And if you don't like it, if you go, no, this is fucking shit. And the only thing is, I'd say give it 2 days. You got to give it at least 2 to 3 days before you really know. And after 2 or 3 days, if you're like, no, this is shit, you can send it back to them for free. They'll come pick it up.
Yeah, they got like a warranty, which I've seen on like advertisements on TV and radio.
Yeah, it's like 3 months. Yeah, you can try it out for free, like for 3 months, and anytime in those 3 months you go, no, this is shit, they'll just come pick it up and take it back for free.
Okay, Johnny,
This sounds like an ad to me. Are you sure you're not? Like,
this is an excellent consumer segment. If it's not an ad.
This is honestly a podcast pre-roll ad to the fucking T.
It kind of is, but honestly, but that's what I mean. Like once I went memory foam, I became a fucking memory foam shill so fucking hard. Holy shit! Like I converted so hard.
Can you email? So I was gonna say, can you email Koala and get them to sponsor Pint Party? And everyone gets a koala foam mattress or koala hard mattress like Jenga likes.
And you don't just get a foam mattress with it, you also get a little koala plush bear. I got mine.
You just did that. But wait, there's more bit of the ad.
Yeah, there you go. There's my final shill.
This isn't the home shopping channel.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more.
That's it, yeah.
Call now and you'll get...
God damn it.
I mean,
call now and you'll get a NutriBullet just for free. It's value at $49.95.
You've got me reminiscing about fucking episode 6 ad roll that you did, Sean.
and this lovely set of steak knives.
Well, I feel like I was more like Steve Jobs, like, and just one more thing. But like, yeah, sure, let's go steak knife, Shill. Why not? All right, well, I think we'll leave it there. But before we do, I actually legitimately I want to have an old man moment, because this is a thing I've been seeing around on the internet, and I legitimately have absolutely no idea. And it's also not the first time we've done this, where John doesn't know what young people are saying, so John needs somebody to tell him. What the fuck does simp mean? Because everybody's
excellent question, my man.
Everybody's fucking saying it, and they're like, "Oh my god, the simp, he's simping hard and all that." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like the closest I can tell.
David, do you want to take this one, or do you want me to do it?
I reckon you can do it because I don't like how simp is being used to just describe a catch-all umbrella term for male who appreciates female.
Yeah.
Like that to me is where the definition of simp goes wrong. Because God forbid a man put over a female that they're in a relationship with, right?
Well, it's not. It's once again, it's a definition that gets warped depending on who.
Yeah, exactly.
Like who
it's like it's a contextual definition, I think.
Yeah. So essentially, like in the fully derogatory term of it, it's someone who is like worships a woman. Maybe to the point of giving her financial aid on something like OnlyFans or Pornhub or whatever, and then will defend her against other men who will go about their day deriding her or putting down her choice of employment with the implied, I guess, sort of implied catch-all that perhaps that their defense of this young lady will eventually somehow lead them to be in a relationship, even though their relationship has been established as a monetary one from the word go.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And but there are warped.
You can take anything sort of out of that and still make a pretty decent definition out of it. But for the most part, it's someone who defends women online, but they're paying those women to take their clothes off at the same time.
Yeah, that's the definition. The initial definition of simp.
Pretty much.
Initial. Yeah. Where it's warped is that it's moved away from this relationship of, because it was applied to OnlyFans, right? It's stepped from that concept, the culture of now OnlyFans and all that kind of stuff. And it's moved from that to just basically being, and this is why it annoys me, because that definition, fair enough, right? But where it's become warped now to just describe male or cis male who defends female. And it's just like, oh yeah, you're a simp. Like you're just putting over females. Yeah.
It's the
shut the fuck up, bro. Like
it's the natural progression, or just like the latest iteration of that meme. Essentially, it's ridiculous, but of course the internet needs a word for everything, so they've attached a word to people that do this. It used to just be like neckbeard or Milady got fedora guy or whatever.
No, it's basically just r/neckbeards.
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
It's the next iteration of the Milady guy. It's that. It's but it sort of did get out of control when iDubbbz got called a simp because his girlfriend started an OnlyFans account, and I just didn't understand the reason people started calling him a simp, because I'm like, well, he still gets to fuck her, guys. That's his girlfriend. Like, it was, that's kind of when I realized that the whole thing had gone from just from anyone, or just from like people defending women who are on OnlyFans and take their clothes off for money, to just, the point of like, now people are going to use this term as anyone that defends any woman online about anything. And that's when it goes from being something funny to being something pretty toxic, which,
I mean,
which
that's
describes the internet to a T.
Yeah, I guess that's the
really,
internet in a fucking
about it.
nutshell. It's internet in a nutshell.
Yeah.
but
So,
it seems
that's
like
what it is, John. And just have fun with that. Use it at your leisure.
Okay.
You're a simp, Michael.
That makes sense. But like, I mean, it seems to me that it started out in toxicity, because like my just from like trying to infer my trying to infer it from context cues, it seems like it was a thing. Like, it also seems to be a thing that I'm noticing happening a lot, and maybe that's just because I'm on Reddit and I'm not kind of noticing the darker side of Reddit, which is a pretty fucking huge place. That it seems like
the darker side of Reddit was called 4chan.
No. Like it's like pre 4chan is like the dark side of Reddit, but like it just seemed like people were trying to make incel like terminology and bring it into the mainstream, is what it felt like. And I felt like simp was a thing that was started by incels and then was brought into the mainstream. I was like, okay.
It's kind of that too, but it's also a way to like, it's become even more derogatory than being an incel. Like, that's what they're trying to like. It feels like just another like a catch-all term, but it's like, how do we call you something worse than being an incel? Is you're someone who can't have sex, but will then defend someone online who is teasing the very idea of intimacy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's an insult to a T. That's what they do.
Exactly.
They'll bring down those kinds of people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. The whole thing is stupid. But that's the internet in a nutshell. The whole thing's pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's simp. It's the new thing. It'll be gone. I give it probably August, September.
Oh, really? That's sort of a time frame?
Dude, there's literally so much happening right now that it is so hard to keep track of everything going on, that I give simp a good 3 months of being in the zeitgeist, and then it would just become a niche thing outside of the zeitgeist. And that's right. You got to hit zeitgeist at some point in these Pint Party episode. I've done it. Thank you.
Zeitgeist of the pandemic.
Exactly. But that's the thing, like with all this news, that like the 24-hour news cycle right now is fucking ridiculous. And I just feel that something else is going to come along in that time that will just sort of fade off. It'll still be a thing on like internet things, like 4chan and like the darker side of Reddit and all that sort of stuff. But then when it comes to like sort of mainstream internet, I think it's going to just disappear pretty quickly.
It's okay. Well, no, it disappears when kids playing Fortnite start saying it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then everyone will stop.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's how the internet cycle tends to go.
Yeah,
thankfully, I argue it's already hit its peak, so it's already on the downward slope now.
Probably. Yeah, I fully expect it to fade away. It's no cuck. Cuck will always be strong. Cuck will always be
go to internet word.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The term cuckold has been around for so long, though.
Exactly, that's the thing. It's got longevity, and just shortening it does not diminish its impact.
Yeah. If anything, the shortened version, it stings more.
It does, and it's beautiful, and I love it. It's a great word.
I actually think being called cuck is it's a top 5 insult.
It is. It's up there.
Because people immediately know the connotation, so they know immediately. It's one of those words that everyone knows what it means.
Whereas, like,
which makes it an amazing universal insult.
When I first heard it, I was like, is this like a shortened version of like Simpson fan? Am I a simp? Is that what's happening right now? Then I looked into it and I'm like, oh, no, it's not that. I'm definitely not no, none of that. Thank you. But yeah, it's I just don't think it's got legs. I just don't think it's gonna keep going. So give it no further thought, John.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. It just seems like it's like people trying to make incel terms like popular, and I'm like, oh, that's a bit weird. But with that, we'll leave it there. So I want to thank my guests today, David Yang, Ricki Needs, and Lachlan Beazleigh. Thank you, boys, for joining me today.
Not a problem.
And I'm going to say, thank you again to Lockie. Lockie had to leave. He had to go to work because, you got to make that paper. So good luck at work, Lock, wherever you are out there in the big bad world. Oh, I hope he's okay. I hope you brought a jacket and remember your towel. And I also want to thank my other guests, Michael Thompson and JJ. Thank you for joining us today.
No problemo.
Anytime.
Yeah, here's the 50 more. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. This is episode
Yeah.
50. It's a fucking. We didn't even say that. We just jumped straight into the fucking bands. It was great.
And hopefully a Koala sponsorship as well.
Yeah. Koala. Like, oh my God, if Koala could, that'd be great. And here's the thing. I don't even want cash. I will shill Koala till the fucking day I die if I could get, because they've got a double mattress and a bed frame thing combo. I want one of them. Like you just send one of them by and like fucking you've got me. All right, fucking signed, sealed, and delivered. I'll tell you. So if you like this episode, please tell 2 friends about it in 2020. And you can check us out, of course, as always, on any podcasting app that you like. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere that Joe Rogan isn't. And if you want to check us out on social media, please do follow us on Instagram at pint.party and on Twitter at Pint Party, because we're using that a bit more thanks to internet macros. It's great. I got if this then that, and that makes my life so much easier.
How good?
It's fucking great. Oh my God. It's the best.
I've also started using Twitter more.
You actually have. Like, actually, you know what? Yeah, you should follow Dave at Air Yang, because he likes to post his own little hot takes, which we won't always post on the Pint Party one, because some of them are just a bit too spicy. In my opinion,
Spicy takes.
some of them are spicy, but some of them are also just like downright strange, and it's sort of like I don't even know where the logic is here in some of them.
Yeah, whenever I see one of Dave's tweets, I physically stop scrolling and I go, huh.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I continue my scroll.
Yeah. No,
Get that as a soundbite, please. I want that.
Yeah, that'll happen. That happens a lot, actually.
His tweets have been high key, actually.
They have been
High
pretty
key.
fucking high key.
No, they have been pretty good, but I still always go, huh.
And if you want more David and Michael goodness, you can always listen to them live on the radio. You know that thing that isn't the internet, but like it's still a thing. The thing in your car. If you look at your car, there's like a button called FM. That's where Michael and David do their work sometimes on Fridays from midday on what is it, 88.3?
Southern FM.
Southern
Sounds
FM.
of the day,
Yeah,
Of the
88.3 Southern FM, Yang and Tomo. You can listen to them every Friday. That's here in Australia, by the way. If you're here, specifically if you're in Melbourne, you can do that. Otherwise, you use the TuneIn app to listen to that station anywhere in the world, because it's on the internet. It's great. And if you're looking for something to watch during the week, I'm streaming on Twitch every day, almost every day, from 2 till 4:30 p.m. on twitch.tv/Pint Party. I'm currently playing Exapunks, which is a cyberpunk programming game. It's a good bit of fun. It's a good little puzzle game. It's pretty fun. We're getting close to the end too. Oh boy. And holy fuck, is the plot getting fucking thick, I'll tell ya. Oh, shit's getting crazy. So with that, this has been Pint Party. Cheers.
Cheers.
You are listening to a Heart Effect Network podcast. Find us at hearteffectstudios.com.au.